Hi, I'm Bob Dixon. Welcome to the Leader's Edge Hot Takes edition of the Five Eagles Insight Podcast. For over 3 decades, I served in the military as an engineer and as a strategist, and I learned a few things about leadership. We know that it goes beyond theory. It's about real-world application. So in this series, sponsored by Five Eagles Leadership, we feature industry leaders and share their leadership journeys with you. My mission's simple. It's to help you become the best leader you can be. Now, if that sounds like something you're interested in, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. If you'd like to be considered as a guest in upcoming episodes, please go to 5eaglesleadership.com/interview and apply today. Now, let's get started.
Hi, and welcome to Leader's Edge podcast, where we highlight leaders in various industries and their leadership journeys. Today, I'm with Edan Burstein. He's from Miami and owns a company called Hot Rocks. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate being here.
Super glad to have you here. Can you tell us in like a 90-second overview about your company and about your journey and how you got to now?
Well, we own a company called Raw Nation, which manufactures a product called Hot Rocks, which is a certified organic, raw, natural libido enhancer for both men and women. It's like a natural and healthy alternative to subscription medications. We also a member of the Organic Trade Association, and we manufacture it with certified organic herbs and superfoods inside. The mission statement behind the product, more of Raw Nation rather than Hot Rocks, is the awareness of the benefits of the raw and organic diet. And when we started the company, we thought that maybe, you sometimes see that sex sells. Like you look at Harley Davidson and you say, okay, they use sex to sell motorcycles. So we kind of thought it would be cool to come up with a product that has ingredients inside that are healthy and has a lot of benefits, but they also turn to the realm of the sexual energy, vitality, and stuff like that. So we created Hot Rocks, and we've been 15 years in business, and we're really proud of it. We've been on doctor shows, and we've been on Playboy Radio. We've been on Fox News, and we've been on XBiz. So we roll in both areas, health and sex.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. Can you tell me what the biggest problem that you see in your industry?
In my industry is that sometimes in today's world with digital media and all that stuff, sometimes it's when you have something that talks about sex or something in the sexual realm, sometimes it's hard to kind of break through the barriers of being considered a legitimate company. You've got ingredients inside, we've got ingredients inside that people buy them individually in supermarkets like maca and cacao, which are totally mainstream and everything. And all of a sudden you combine them and you say this is for overall vitality, for sexual, and all of a sudden you have to deal with merchants not wanting to take the credit cards from your customers, with ads that you're trying to run in everywhere. So sometimes that's the hurdle with this company, that we have to always make sure to make people understand that we're a legitimate company, even though we're a sexual vitamin, we're a legitimate company, and to take us in a serious matter if we need to do something that everybody else get a chance to do.
Okay, awesome. So I can absolutely see where that's a challenge. And of course, some of your competitors in the pharmaceutical world don't see the same challenges that you've got, right? They blatantly just put it out there on mainstream primetime television with their commercials, talking about exactly what you're talking about, is helping people in a particular area of their lives that they might need some help in. And for some reason, because you're not a large pharmaceutical company, you don't have the same clout, I guess, that they have.
Absolutely.
How do you deal with that? How do you
We
conquer
see it
that?
all the time. It's funny, because when we started this 15 years ago, when we used to go to all these trade shows and everything, that everybody was namaste and rasta hair and all that stuff. And today it's really mainstream. And then you open up TV, and you want to be on a commercial, something like that. You can't be this, you can't do that. But then you look at the masters, and I'm not going to say the name of the company, but you see an ad for a pharmaceutical drug dealing to help with ED and sexual stuff. And you see this nice girl walking around, but then on the background can cause you that, can cause you height sick, and you cannot see, you won't be able to walk, might cause this, might cause that, might cause that. And on the other hand, we're a company that 15 years in business. First of all, we have a 30-day money back guarantee. I think that I can count on my fingers how many times we had to give that money back guarantee. There's no health there's no health issues if you take more or less. So with us, it's just, and we have those problems. And those pharmaceutical companies are on national TV, like you said, showing the commercial with all that negativity on the background. So it's a little bit screwed up world, but it is. That's how it is.
So what do you do as a leader in that industry then to overcome that big hurdle?
Well, my partner, Julie Wilson, which is really the founder of this product, she was the one that actually came up with the product and manifested the whole thing. She's really, really into. She's like a guru. She's more. She's out there. She's speaking about it. If you go to our website, you can see her being on Fox Business and on doctor shows and stuff like that. She's really the one that actually goes out and deals with it heads on. Not trying to piss anybody off, but talk about the mission statement behind it and just follow what we believe, and hopefully that people can listen, and through maybe people like you and podcasts like this, and get the word out there that there's alternatives to drugs, not only with hard drugs. There's alternatives to a lot of things. Julie was sick with Crohn's disease when she was in her mid-20s, and she was a single mom trying to make ends meet back then, and all of a sudden she gets Crohn's disease, and doctors are talking about cutting intestines and doing a lot of medical procedure, and she was really scared, and that's how she got involved with the raw and organic diet. She found a book by David Wolf, which was the guru back then of the raw and organic lifestyle, and she followed through what it said over there, and all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, it took a while, but she cured herself from Crohn's disease, and that's kind of installed in her that maybe she wants to know more about that world and teach people and stuff like that. And that's how we came up with, maybe we'll use sex to kind of send the message out.
What an incredible journey that must have been for her to discover that there's a way outside of the major pharmaceutical companies and what our modern healthcare system wants to do, which seems to be very well connected with that community in pharmaceuticals. But to realize that there's another more natural way to live a better life, and then to share it with others. I think that's a great journey. Can you tell me about who your ideal client would be?
That's a good question. We get this all the time when we do marketing. We notice that at the end of the day, we're for men and women. So, and it can be so we have clients that are taking it as couples, married couples, or clients that are single. So if I had to say, the average client is probably a male, 45 to 55, but we got a lot across the board. We get sometimes people that are calling up our call center and saying, "Can you up my bottles per month? I just got married and I want my husband to take it," or "I got divorced, so take it down." So we really we notice that we have 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. I remember that when we used to wake up in the morning in New York in the freezing cold and go to the Dr. Katz corner radio show on AM radio in the morning. And we used to talk about hot drugs, and then the call center, not even going online, call center getting phone calls from, hello, I'd like to order, so 80-year-olds. So I would say the median is the 45 to 55 years old, but we're definitely across the board. Absolutely.
Okay. So do you see this part of the industry growing? Like, that the pharmaceutical companies are adamant against the more homeopathic solutions to things, more organic solutions to things. They don't like it, right? Because they make a lot of money selling chemicals.
Exactly.
So where is your industry going? Are you gonna gain market share on the big pharmaceuticals?
I can tell you that I don't even have to answer it. You can just go to the trade shows and see. They're just growing. There's more of them. They're just growing, and it's a market that's not going away. People, there's a lot of, at the end of the day, they say you are what you eat. They don't recommend you eating vitamin C from oranges for nothing. They don't give you specific food. I mean, just think about the food industry that's changed. In the old days, we used to have hamburgers and pizza and stuff like that, and today we eat in healthier places, and they become popular, and people are a lot more conscious towards what they eat. But at the end of the day, the food that they consume in the supermarkets or in the restaurants, they're still lacking. There's a lot of stuff out there in the world, and that's why it's called supplements. You come up with ingredients inside that people don't get usually from a banana or an apple or their burger or their shake or stuff like that. So there's a lot of help out there. Vitamin D has become very popular. You get it from the sun, but a lot of people take it as a supplement. And the more we grow, the more we understand. We understand how much vitamin D is more important than it used to be. So getting supplements, it's not something that people are afraid of, because there's nothing harmful about them. Like a drug medication. It's something that you take. It's
Right.
like you go to a friend's house and he say, "Hey, I have this fruit that you never tried." Yeah, okay, cool. I like it. I don't like it, but you're not gonna get sick at the end of the day. So that's what supplements are. So the industry is growing. There's no doubt about it. You can see it from health places to health foods and places, and we're not worried about where it's going. But at the end of the day, it is a tough fight sometimes against the prescription medications and all those pharmaceutical companies.
Eden, if we see that the market in this industry is growing, so there's more people out there seeking supplements. They're seeking the organic solutions to their problems in health and wellness. What is Raw Nation doing to capture more of that growing marketplace?
Well, Raw Nation, what we're doing is we're trying to educate. So every time we come out, just like now, I'm not really talking about hot rocks, I'm talking about the market. So we try to educate people, because sometimes also when you come up with a sexual product and you say, hey, I got a sexual product, some people might think that, oh, I'm going to take this and something is going to happen. No, this is something that you got to put it into your lifestyle. This is part of your diet, just like going to the gym on a consistent level. So we're trying to educate people on the benefits of the raw and organic diet, because also the organic is one world of its own. We're talking about raw, we're talking about natural, but the organic itself it's a world of its own as well. And we're a member of the certified of the Organic Trade Association, write blogs, stuff like that. So we're in that realm, trying to make an influence, and to whenever we get a chance to talk about it, we always try to broaden up the conversation rather than keep it only about hot rocks and Raw Nation.
Got it. Yeah, I think expanding the market itself, then you just get a bigger piece of the pie, or your piece of that pie gets bigger if the market expands, and that's a viable strategy for sure. it can't be easy, right? You're trying to grow something that maybe the market forces aren't in favor of. So there's got to be a lot of challenges. So can you tell me about some of the challenges that you have to overcome, like you personally as a leader in the organization, or as you're trying to help the company move forward?
Well, first of all, the challenges I spoke to is trying to keep it main, even though you're a sexual product. But the market changes, things change, so you gotta adapt as you go along. Rules of merchant, being on Amazon. There's a lot of stuff that is changing all the time that you gotta make sure that you understand. Google changes all the time, so if you're doing a certain strategy, then you gotta change it into a different one. So I'm sure that everybody else that's might be hearing me right now will relate to it because especially when you have a business that's not in a physical location, it's more of online and stuff like that. You gotta and competitors come in and somebody's trying to copy you and stuff like that. So you gotta really be on your toes, keep it original, stick to your original idea and original mission statement, but also be willing to and not willing, but being open to change and to adapt.
Yeah, I think those are two very key leadership traits, right? Openness and agility, right? The ability to adapt to a changing
You
situation.
got to.
And leaders, I think some of some leaders are not that open to change. They think they've got the answers, and they just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And then a new idea or a change in the marketplace requires a new idea, but like, no, 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 we'll just stick with what's worked in the past.
Yes, and I always say, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. But if it is broken, try to fix it.
I think sometimes we as leaders have to look forward and say, look, if we don't fix this, it's gonna break. We don't have to wait for it to be broken
All right.
before we can start to make changes, because if we can see further into the marketplace, we can say, look, this is gonna be different. 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, this is going to be a different place. How do we as leaders adjust to those things before it becomes a crisis? Right? Great leaders avoid crisis. We always hear about great leaders who led through crisis. Like, what about those that avoided it because they had that insight to look forward?
I listen. We've been through a couple of crises in the couple, in the last years, and if people knew how to avoid them or be aware of them, I'm talking about the corona, for instance. Who saw that coming? Who saw that coming?
Right.
You know, and I can tell you that for a company like Hot Trucks, in those days, there was a huge spike. Also from people being bored at home, but also from
Mm-hmm.
people are now aware of their health. People were afraid of their health, and we are a healthy product. Like I said, beyond the sexual realm, we are about energy, about mood, about circulation, about blood flow, about immune system. 7 ingredients inside that are really each and every one of them is also pure, raw and organic. So you're getting them as potent as possible. So people were into it. So in a way, it helped, but we would have still wished that the world hadn't seen uh, those 2 years, year and a half of what we've been through.
Yeah, I think, yeah, a lot of it depends on where you were at, how long the pain lasted, basically because of our response to it, right? Different leaders, different community leaders, and government leaders had different responses to that particular crisis, and it affected all of us in different ways. I think when you can look forward, when I say you have that forward look, that insight of what's going to happen, yeah, you couldn't see the coronavirus coming. But what you could see is that there are going to be leaders who are going to take this opportunity to shut everything down. And what do you do as a business leader at that point matters, right? And I watched some businesses like yours that there was a growing interest in health and taking care of yourself. And okay, there was some boredom at home, and maybe you were locked in with your spouse a little bit more. So maybe a product like yours would be very beneficial. But there's other businesses that failed to pivot.
Friends of mine.
They failed to say, okay, I had watched one leader say, no, this will be over with in a couple weeks. Don't do anything. Keep it all the same. And we lost weeks or months where you could have been creating what was going to be next?
Also, I mean, first of all, yes, I can tell you that I was involved in a restaurant, and the restaurant business suffered a lot. And I have friends that are in the cosmetic business, suffered a lot, especially because they can't, even when stuff started opening with all the restriction, they couldn't really touch people, so they couldn't show them the cosmetics and stuff. So there was a lot of businesses that got hurt from it. Some people pivoted, found a way to pivot. Some people changed course, and some people collapsed. We also talking about the political. Unfortunately, we live in a politics kind of world. So Democratic states were less open, rather than Republican states like Florida, where I live, were open. So people were coming, and it was more normal there than in other places. So we, as leaders, we were also bound by the political situation that we were living around.
Yeah, I think there's a sense that the playing field changed, and a lot of leaders griped about how the field conditions weren't good, right? I'm a huge soccer fan, so watching Copa Americano was interesting at best because the field conditions were horrible. But great teams went out there and said, "Yep, the field conditions are horrible. Here's how we're going to adjust, and here's how we are going to play our game in spite of bad field conditions." And those teams that got fixated on the field and used it as an excuse not to play their best, they're the ones that got kicked out early. They're the ones that got sent home. And the ones that made the adjustment to the adverse field conditions are the ones that thrived and they walked home with a trophy.
Who do you like?
I think business is exactly like that. As the field conditions change dramatically overnight against our will by a political situation and community leaders that were very concerned for all the right reasons for the health and safety of the population, but it was anti-business, particularly anti-small business during that time period. And the leaders who acknowledged the change in the field conditions and set about to adjust their game, the way they were going to play the game, to those field conditions, to those market conditions, to those political conditions, are the ones that really crushed it. And they walked away with a trophy. And the other ones that just bitched about it are the ones that had to go home early.
Yep.
That's an oversimplification, I get, but I think that leaders have a responsibility for their organizations to have that adaptability, have that mindset of, okay, the field conditions change, I hate that, and here's what we're going to do about it.
Yep.
You can't put the field back together. You can't change that, but what you can do is change the way you play.
I agree. This is one of my mottos. I always say, and it's also people that I do business with. A lot of people come to you when you start talking to them about business or plans or stuff like that. They come and they lay it out really, really clearly what you want, what they're going to do. But you know from experience that what somebody anticipates and what somebody that says that's what's going to happen, that's not how it's going to happen. That's not. You're not going to have employees. There's going to be a tough market. We're not going to be able to finish this in time. Stuff happens. And to me, I always were impressed with what you do on the field. How do you fight the fight while you're on the field and things shift around? That to me was also always a trait that I was looking at. That's the way that I manage stuff. At least I try to plan as much as I can and try to think, but I know that it's not gonna exactly be the way that I think it's going to be. And you gotta make calls on the field. You gotta make changes on the field. And if you're a soccer fan, you know that. You come up, the coach comes up with a plan. He's got 11 players playing. The other team was getting ready for you guys as well, And then you go in, and one player is being guarded really heavily that you didn't think of, and that guy is not having a good day. So you got to make adjustments on the field and motivation on the field. So that's a big part of leadership.
Absolutely, yeah. To guide and inspire your troops.
Absolutely.
That's the key right there to changing field conditions. I love it. Thank you so much. Hey, I am with Edan Burstein from Raw Nation, and this is Leaders Edge podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate it. And for everybody that doesn't know how to spell Hot Rocks, it's HOTRAWKS.com. Check it out, and we'll be happy to have you on board.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the Leader's Edge Hot Take Series. I hope you found today's insight meaningful, valuable, and that you're ready to put them into action. Now, if you enjoyed the episode and want to keep improving your leadership, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. I post new content every week, packed with strategies, tips, and real-life examples to help you lead with impact. And remember, great leadership isn't just about guiding others, it's about continuously growing yourself. If you'd like to be considered as a guest for upcoming episodes, please go to 5eaglesleadership.com/interview to apply today. Keep pushing, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next episode. Be awesome.